huh? Hey, almost halfway. Adel, Red Ranger, thank you for the 5 months. Welcome back. We are kicking off today with a... I don't want to say we're quite fully the bad guy. There's a lot of variations of this archetype right now. So for people that haven't seen it, this is a deck that's kind of taking Pioneer by storm after the last couple of weeks. So Inverter of Truth here says, when this enters the battlefield, exile all cards from your library face down, then shuffle all cards from your graveyard into your library. We pair Inverter of Truth with both Thassa's Oracle and Jace Wielder of Mysteries to kind of ult win the game. So the basic idea is survive till you Inverter, flip your deck over, cast Oracle, win with the trigger, or use your Jace and win with its trigger. So there are a number of variations of this archetype that are a lot more black-based in this one. So there's a lot of builds that are like playing like Thoughtseize and Fatal Push in the main. This build is more blue devotion, splashing for a double black card off of 6, looks like 10, 14 black sources. So I'm a little suspect that we can cast this card consistently off of 14 black sources, but I'm interested to see how the games play out. I'm sure we'll probably win a number of games just by beating people down too, kind of blue devotion style. So let's dive on into some matches with this variation and see how it goes. Hey, Burpsy, thanks for the 11 months. I appreciate that. Welcome back. Marari, thank you for the 3/4 of a year. I think you got it figured out okay. So, Tuesdays for the foreseeable future, probably through the end of Jake's school year, are going to be Pioneer Day here. So, Tuesday's a little bit shorter stream overall, but it'll be all Pioneer decks. We rock in three different decks on most Tuesdays, I believe. E2 Extinction, the Sultai Control deck is very good. That Sultai Control deck is my preferred iteration of Sultai Control. Both being able to exile Cavaliers as well as opposing escape creatures like Uro is very important. The Surveil is not irrelevant. Post-board, the ability to find E2 Extinction with Narset, whereas you can't find Murderous Rider with Narset, is very relevant. So that list, if you actually watch the video we played yesterday, instead of just looking at the deck list, you'll hear me talk about how I am, what's the word I'm searching for? You'll hear me talk about how that list, I'm happy with that list, and this is a build that's going to go up on the website. Morning Soul. Alright, well there's a second black source, huh? I think I keep the Harbinger of the Tides. I think Blue Devotion is probably useful here, and I think having some threats is good. Hey, Imbat, thanks for the 11 months. I appreciate that. Welcome back. Thanks for keeping me around. Probably a Pseudomere, if I had to guess. Sea Ordain, seems okay. Flying Dump Truck, thanks for 3/4 of a year. Welcome back. Saw this deck list before Inverter showed up, and I thought that was what we were going to play. I don't understand your statement, Spreada. So, the goal here is to kind of get to a bunch of mana and then go Inverter plus Thassa's Oracle in the same turn if they're tapped out. Now, there's a little bit of bob and weave because if we stick this and they counterspell the Oracle, we could lose the game because of that. Things worth noting. So I'm going to go ahead and keep putting my Dorkos into play here. Yep. Oh, yeah, I generally don't update the Stream Deck or list until I sit down to actually turn it on. So... I don't know. YOLO? This might be wrong. Might be too aggressive. If they discard spell or counter this, we lose the game. So this exiles our deck face down and then flips this into our deck. First leg, hoping they don't have a counter spell. Oh, they put an extra card in our bin? Sure. Probably still did do a counter spell though, right? I guess I have a 6/6. So, looking to dodge, discard spells and counter spells here. Oh. What a silly mirror. What a silly mirror. So this mills target player 2 cards. Oh, these mirrors are gonna be silly. That's great. That's lovely. That's really funny. Alright, so disputes and Thoughtseizes seem great. Extra Jace seems fine. Oh yeah, Ego seems good. Harbinger of the Tides. Did I just like cut the Harbingers and the Merfolk Tricksters? Just pull up. I think that's the answer. It's never too early for politics. So we don't have official caucus numbers, right? Bernie Sanders' team released their internal poll numbers from the caucuses, but there's no guarantee that those are accurate, right? Nah, there's nothing dumb about that at all, Beastman. Mirror matches tend to be a little bit medium. In my opinion, one of the best things about fighting a deck in Magic is finding something that's a little bit unique but still feels competitive. It's one of the reasons why I played Kiki Cord for so long. Fully understand what you're talking about. Honestly, Enya, the biggest thing to me about those numbers that really makes me happy is how low Joe Biden is. I would, like, obviously I am, like, Sanders #1. I would love to vote for Bernie in the general, but just please, for the love of God, if Sanders doesn't win the nomination, please don't make me vote for Joe Biden in a general election. That man needs to get out of politics. Thanks for the 14 months tapped lands. I appreciate that. Welcome back. Thanks for keeping me around. Joe, Status Quo Joe needs to learn that not all sidekicks get an upgrade. A lot of people are fed a lot of propaganda and think that they need to nominate a centrist. And if a mediocre, moderate centrist is going to get the nomination, I would much rather it be Pete Buttigieg or Klobuchar and not Joe Biden. At the very least, if we're going to get a centrist, let's not make it a centrist who's been in politics for longer than I've been alive. Just, like, as a friendly reminder, you don't need to be a peak millennial and, like, if you're not enjoying the deck we're playing or the format or the topic of conversation, whether it's politics or food or kids or whatever it is, there's no need to announce you're leaving. Like, I don't know what it is. Like, maybe that's something generations before millennials did too, but it's definitely something people in my generation do a lot, and it's so annoying. Just change the channel. You don't need to yell at the TV that you're upset with what the TV is playing. Yeah, but here's the thing, Mari. If regardless of who wins the nomination, Trump and the GOP are going to tell people that they're a socialist. What does this deck do? So this deck, basically, the TLDR is Inverter of Truth exiles your entire library, and then Jace, Wielder of Mysteries, or Thassa's Oracle wins you the game when your deck is empty. Ranked choice voting should be the norm. It's important to note that if the DNC actually cared about democracy and electing the candidate people actually want the most, they would have ranked choice voting. Wow, that's bad. I just don't want any of these cards. My 4X Nykthos Shrine to Nyx really catching up with us here, huh? I guess the Nykthoses are going to make extra mana here. So I kind of got that going for them. I've got double Jace, so I just take Leyline. I think I'm just going to take Leyline. So this looks at the top 4 cards of our deck, because we have 4 Devotion Blue, puts 1 on top and the rest of the bottom in a random order. Yeah, largely all Trump can do is talk crap, because Trump doesn't actually have any substantial policies. If you, listen to the things that he does, Trump's policies are making a different country pay for a border wall. When you actually listen to the policies that Trump's puts forward, they're nonsense. Oh, is it up to 1? Oh, it is up to 1. It's fine. They milled us anyways, but you're right. It was up to 1. Thanks for pointing that out, Captain Jack. That could be relevant. And Beetle. I think we just attack this and then pass. So I could jam a Jace here, but jamming Jace means that we could get Mystic disputed. And if I jam Jace and they Inverter, well, I guess if they Inverter, there's 4 cards in their bin, so they don't win this turn with Inverter. If they go land, Inverter, Thassa's Oracle, they win. Maybe I am just supposed to jam Jace. Yeah, I'm gonna jam Jace. Because if the Jace resolves, I will get to... If the Jace resolves, I can mill them for 2, which means Thassa's Oracle doesn't beat me. Oh wait, that's not true because their Jace will mill them? I don't know. So I think we're definitely supposed to mill the opponent in these matches because it makes it harder for them to combo. Okay, it's the second black source. It's pretty good. Yeah, this could maybe be the deck that finally gets Dig Through Time banned. Dig Through Time, delving your graveyard away and finding your combo pieces is really good. Hey, thank you for the very generous tier 3 resub, Pokemon Nerd. I appreciate that. Welcome back. Thanks for keeping me around. All right, so we're dead to Thassa's Oracle here. I don't understand why Felidar Guardian's banned. I don't understand why Felidar Guardian's banned. Yeah, this is, Alright, I guess I could have held up Brazen Borrower. I don't know, just like sitting there being super reactive doesn't feel particularly good. And like, even if I hold up Brazen Borrower, like, they still just kill us 2 turns later, right? Because like, I can bounce the Jace in response, but then like, they play the Jace the following turn and win. No, bluffing anything doesn't mean they're not going to go for it. They're still super far ahead. Even if I have the dispute, and if I don't have the dispute, they win the game. So no reason to bluff. Yeah, I think that might be the case right now. I think without Oath of Nissa and without Oko, Felidar Guardian is a different game. I don't know. Like I said, I think this Inverter deck is going to... This Inverter deck is going to set the tone for how they're going to manage the ban list in this format. If they're going to manage the ban list consistently, they're going to ban something out of this archetype, or they're going to unban Felidar Guardian. And if they waffle and split the difference and leave something banned from this, I'm going to be worried that they're going to be going down the same line they went down that kind of left Modern in a bad spot. Which is that like, just like randomly banning things essentially. There's no consistency or uniformity across the decisions they make. So here's the thing. This is something I think a lot of people don't quite get, is that every non-rotating format, as more cards are printed, will have more combos and be more obnoxious if it's not managed. That's just how these games work. There's too many combinations of different cards. And if you just don't ban anything and don't actually manage the format, it's going to go crazy just by the nature of how these formats work. That's a feature. That's how it works. That's just how things are. And like, that doesn't mean that, so like, they have a decision to make. They have a decision to make where, do they want the format to devolve into an arms race like Modern, where things get more powerful and more powerful and more powerful, and as things get more powerful, less decks become playable, because when the best decks are really strong, the next best decks also have to be strong to be competitive. I agree that some people like really high-powered formats, but those players have Legacy and they have Modern to play in. So my hope as a player is that this format will be a lower power leveled format. That's my hope as a player. So I have Jace and Thassa's Oracle here. So I'm just going to play Inverter because they have to have double discard spells to win the game. I suppose they could have a trophy. And they have a couple pieces of interaction. Would I say Dig or Cruise should go? I don't think so, actually. I think this is a format where Dig and Cruise are reasonable. I think people that do like what you just did there don't understand how to evaluate Magic the Gathering cards. And you're defining Magic cards as good or bad, and that's not how this game works. Trying to define cards as just simply good or bad is how you end up with players who are very good players making very bad predictions and saying Stoneforge Mystic is a strong card, it needs to stay banned. Jace the Mind Sculptor is a strong card, it needs to be banned. And that's not how these games work. The power level of everything is specific to the context of the format in which it's being played. For a really good example, Deathrite Shaman, barely played in Standard, banned in Modern and Legacy. Cards are not objectively good. They're all contextually good or bad. Ready Perfectly, thank you for the brand new Prime support. I appreciate that. Welcome to Hoaglandia. BRN Wolf, thank you for the brand new Prime support as well. Hope you folks are having a wonderful Tuesday wherever you're at in the world. Welcome to our Pioneer Day. So I'm killing Nissa first because Nissa lets this make 2 mana. So if I kill Nissa first, they can't trophy my Jace in response to his activation. Because if they trophy Jace in response to his activation, I'd lose the game. Do you have any spare timeouts? Of course, Rook. Thank you for the 11 months of support. Except Oko, he was objectively too good. I don't know. He's still legal in Legacy, right? I think you could make the argument that in a world without 1 mana accelerants and a world without Veil of Summer and Once Upon a Time, Oko might be a fine Magic card. I think there are definitely ways to... I think when you have 1 mana accelerants omnipresent in all these formats, Oko becomes really good. Yeah. But when you can't play Oko till turn 3 and you can't play 1 mana Cryptic Command to protect him, he becomes a lot worse. Any world where Once Upon a Time isn't offensive? No, I don't think so. I think Once Upon a Time is just a really bad design. What's a timeout? A timeout prevents someone from typing messages in chat for a 10-minute time period. I think a couple of Aether Gust sound good. Extra Jace sounds good against a mid-range deck. Borrower's probably fine for tempo and pressuring their planeswalkers a little. They didn't look to have too many creatures. Maybe I trimmed the Harbinger of the Tides here. Harbinger. Let's do that. Is there a world where field is okay? Yeah. I honestly think, like, if they're gonna leave this inverter combo deck legal in this format, Field of the Dead should probably be legal too. Decks like this can easily punish Field of the Dead. They banned Field of the Dead, and a different ramp deck immediately took its place. Yeah, they should have. I think they should have banned a Boreal Grazer. Is the card that should have been removed. Yeah, that's really what's going to be remaining to receipt, Nib. So I don't expect there obviously weren't Pioneer changes this week, but I would be kind of surprised if there's not a Pioneer ban list update in 6 days. So there's another regional Pro Tour this weekend. And then I expect after those results with the other 2 regional Pro Tours, we'll see another Pioneer ban list update. Yeah, this format is relatively brutal. Like, people don't realize that less brutal than Modern is really fast still. Like, Modern is blisteringly quick. Like, it's a really fast, not forgiving format. And, like, there is so many ranges of formats that are still relatively quick and brutal, but, like, aren't Modern brutal. Like, I would argue Modern is like a turn 2.5 format a lot of the time. And by what I mean by a turn 2.5 format for people that are new or people that maybe don't understand is that games, I would describe the current Pioneer as a turn 4.5 format. And I put the 0.5 in there because there is some wiggle room. And what I mean by describing what turn of format is, I mean even if a game isn't literally over by the turn I've described, it's generally effectively over by that turn. It's over in the sense that you know who's incredibly likely to win the game, even though the game is still taking turns. What happened to Mana Elves? What do you mean? I'm not sure I understand your question. A good example of a deck in Modern that describes as a turn 2.5 format that doesn't actually kill people is Amulet Titan. Amulet Titan is a deck that, even though it doesn't literally kill them, it doesn't it doesn't literally kill them, it effectively ends the game. So here's the thing, and again, I feel like it's the amount I have to repeat this just really drives home how much people don't get it. So Naya in chat just said Land War Elves weren't broken, there were 0 in the top 8s. That's not how Magic works. 1, that's not how Magic works. Those are split format tournaments. 2, even if they weren't split format tournaments and there's no elves in the top 8, this card being busted and this card being busted, it's literally, they weren't broken. What happened to Mana Elves? They weren't broken, question mark. That is literally a direct quote of what you typed in my fucking chat. So don't you even. He says, you are not Donald Trump. This is not one of Donald Trump's space. You don't get to lie directly to my face about the things you typed out. Fuck off. Two, to finish my statement, is one thing being overbearing doesn't excuse. I forgot to scribe because we were typing and worked up. All right, we're gonna go to the third game. Two, one thing like inverter combo being overbearing doesn't mean that other things that get overshadowed by it aren't still obnoxious once you take the overbearing thing out of the format. So like, for example, when no ban list Modern tournaments have happened, there are cards on the Modern ban list that don't show up in those tournaments that definitely should remain banned. They just get overshadowed by other things that are also on the ban list. To quote Shrek, Magic formats have layers. They're like an onion. So if you peel back, if you have one layer of inverter on top and it's overshadowing the other things, there's another layer underneath it that could still be too strong. Once you pull back the top layer. And that context is key. Again, just constantly. Just remove strictly better, objectively good, things like that. Take them out of your vocabulary because it's just not how Magic works. Everything is about the details. Everything is about the context in which these cards are being inserted. It's very, very important. The context is key. Stay out of my hand. Thanks. I think I just milled them, right? I think I'm supposed to keep my deck kind of small. And that's why when people ask me about like, well, Jeff, what would you do in format X? I often talk about how, well, I wouldn't make huge changes. I would make a small change and then see how things play out, because I think it's very arrogant to assume that you know how things are going to play out. Because again, there's just so many variables. You just can't know a lot of the time. All right, what if I like play Merfolk Trickster, diddle this, float a mana, play Nykthos, play Gadwick for 2? I think that's the line. And this sets me up to have a lot of devotion next turn. And if I have a lot of devotion, Thassa's Oracle's trigger can easily win through a removal spell, and my opponent doesn't have counter spells. So my opponent here needs a discard spell for Thassa's Oracle and a removal spell for this Jace, basically, or they're going to lose the game next turn. Or they could Slaughter Games me. Okay. Yep. We have a game then. So we're going to lose Inverter here. Yep. You know, I saw the Slaughter Games here too. I don't think it's right to jam Inverter last turn, is it? Would have put two cards in my deck. Gosh, maybe it was right to jam Inverter next turn. Maybe it was. Hopefully we can just win a tempo game plan from here. I'll flip this up on top of their deck. Yeah, these decks are Splinter Twin. They're fair decks that they're fair decks that like happen to have a 2-mana kill you in them. Am I supposed to start milling myself? You think I can hit enough devotion to like mill myself this game? I guess with a big Gadwick that might be possible. I milled them that turn because they Aether Gusted the tracker to the top of their deck. I think we're probably just gonna kill them with tempo before that point. That's a fair assessment. They could care about their graveyard potentially. Would you entertain a discussion as to why Once Upon a Time is a design mistake, but Dig Through Time necessarily isn't? It's free. The fact that it's free, the fact that if your deck contains creatures and green mana, you should definitely be playing for Once Upon a Time. Whereas, like, if you look at Pioneer, there are a number of decks that don't even play for Dig Through Time, because you don't always want that card. Hey, well, we're going to try and flash in lethal here. If they don't have a removal spell, they lose the game. And if they do have a removal spell, I'm going to get to draw 7 cards next turn, so might as well play my hand out. Hey, look, chat. They cast Slaughter Games and took my combo piece, and it just didn't matter. Once Upon a Time is a design mistake because all of your decks start at 56 cards. It is objectively correct to build your 60-card deck, cut 2 creatures, cut 2 lands, play 4 Once Upon a Time. This was a list from one of the PTs, I think. It's a viewer submission. Like everything here, it's just deck list people send in. Sure. Have a Leyline in the opener. It's the first time we've seen this in 3 matches. Yeah, this deck is there's been like blue devotion tempo decks that have been floating around the edges of this format for a little bit. And this deck is definitely leaning into that. We should keep track of how many inverter decks we play against today. We should keep track of how many inverter decks we play against today. This is 2 out of 3 matches. Is this deck fun to play? I don't know. I don't know. Yeah, I agree. I don't think banning Dig's enough to knock this deck down. Yeah, I agree with that, Boshek. This is the type of thing where it's really novel the first time it happens, but the 10th time it happens, you're like, all right, I'm over this. Hey, nice Inhumane Rabbit. Glad you like it. The quality of their shirts is really, really good. I've had a couple of them for a while, and they've held up really well. Yeah, I mean, that's how Splinter Twin works, Maven. The deck is literally Splinter Twin. So I think the plan here is end step, make 4 mana with Nykthos, play Brazen Borrower, play Trickster, attack for 7 next turn. Okay. So we have 8 mana total. Nykthos makes 6 at the moment. Looking for a Gadwick. I guess also kind of looking for a counterspell, huh? Because they're getting kind of low at this point. Have a dig? Sure. So, I think, again, there's also, what do you want? I think a lot of people, when they talk about ban lists, don't spend enough time thinking about the idea of what they want, we want the format to be, as opposed to what's strictly too powerful or not powerful enough. So I think there's a lot of time spent talking about how, you know, the format, there's a lot of time spent talking about how the format, this card combo is too strong or not too strong or whatever, and not nearly enough time spent thinking about what types of play patterns does this produce? Does it produce enjoyable play patterns or not? I think we're just killing them here the fair way, huh? Listen, we don't solicit London Mulligan FUD in this channel. That ain't welcome here. Repeat after me. The London Mulligan does not make bad gameplay. Poorly designed cards make bad gameplay. The problem isn't the London Mulligan. The problem is cards that make bad gameplay patterns. The London Mulligan doesn't create issues. It simply highlights issues that are already there. God bless America. God bless America. This is the second time this has happened to us. I might be really bad at this mirror match. I'm jamming this card too aggressively. I should have just played this, I guess, in response to that. Or maybe I just do nothing. I'm probably supposed to do nothing. The correct answer isn't make Magic have more variance in it. Magic has too much variance in it. Taking steps to reduce and remove the non-games Magic has are good changes. If you want to be an old man, woman, or other that yells at the clouds, feel free to yell at the clouds somewhere else. So what just happened was I cast Inverter, it put 2 cards into my deck, they played their Jace Wielder of Mysteries and milled my 2 cards, then I lost in my draw step. Thanks for the 15 months unemployed sofa. This archetype's incredibly unsatisfying to play with or against. And that's definitely super subjective, so feel free to disagree. But these games have not been super interesting. Neobrand is fine, sure it is. Simeon Spirit Guide is fine. We have a lot of tapped lands. What about that post, Brad? I missed your first question. Miss your first comment. Are you talking about play-draw discrepancy? Because Magic's always had a huge play-draw discrepancy. If you look, Saffron Olive responded to that tweet saying that at one point when they were tracking match win rates in best of 3, they saw similar differences. I don't think that's true, Beansy. I've seen a lot of people complain about the London Mulligan who have played a lot of Magic for a very long time. So I don't think one of the things I dislike is when people say a change isn't good. You can't make that change because it's too good for the Eternal formats or it doesn't impact Eternal formats. One, basically every time someone said that, the change has come and gone and the Eternal format's been fine. Two, if you make a change that's good for Magic as a whole and it actually ends up being too strong for a non-rotating format, just manage that non-rotating format. I really despise the mindset that a lot of players have where if we're utilizing the ban list, they've not done their job. To utilize the ban list is to make a mistake, I feel like is a really common mindset among Magic players, and I think it's kind of toxic. I think it's toxic and shows a misunderstanding for how game design actually works. All right. I think I just take their Inverter here, huh? Take their Inverter, slam my Jace. We're gonna mill myself here, because I don't want to fill their graveyard for their dig through time. described? Toxic is simply a like, are you complaining about the use of the word toxic? Toxic just describes something as being not good. So like, how is using the word toxic more offensive? Like, you like, I didn't say, hey, you're a fucking idiot because you're stupid and you're dumb. If I can't use the word toxic in a discussion without like people crying that like I'm being obnoxious or like that's berating someone, fuck off. That, like, what words can I use? Like what's a descriptor that I can use that you think is okay if the word toxic isn't okay? Like, seriously, like what words are there? Like I thought using the word toxic is like a pretty neutral way to describe something as not being good or being unhealthy or being bad. Like, yes, I think using the word toxic is applying constructive criticism because it's descriptive. Constructive criticism is concise and descriptive. And toxic is descriptive. It's a descriptive adjective. It describes the play patterns of what's going on. Good God. Yeah, I don't know what it is. It's probably because Moto days, people who can tolerate Magic Online have been in the community longer, but I agree. There's a lot more. I don't think the word toxic is unspecific. What do you think? What about the word toxic is unspecific? I actually think using the word toxic is quite descriptive. It describes something as being poisonous, something that's not good for you. I have Leyline of Anticipation. I think I'm supposed to just Gadwick for 3 here, even though I have Leyline, because they're currently tapped out. Like, people saying it's not descriptive, I'd encourage you to buy a dictionary and expand your vocabulary. Now, I don't think I want to draw step Thoughtseize. I think I want to just hold up Dispute here. And then I'll end step Thoughtseize if they don't give me something to dispute. You're not being descriptive. I'm literally using an adjective to be specific and descriptive. Oh, Twitch chat. That's the purpose. That's the purpose of adjectives. Is to allow you to be descriptive. Ugh. I made the mistake of leaving my Taco Bell in my garbage can last night in my office. It smells real bad. Okay, so Are we dead from here? Because I can't take their Jace out of play, right? Oi, punks. Thanks for the 16 months. Welcome back. We could top deck Inverter. Yeah, that's true. Chat, they have a Jace in play. If they have a Jace in play, they have two cards in their deck. So I need to draw a Brazen Borrower or an Inverter of my own here. That's actually an incredibly good draw, because it gives me a ton of mana. Oh, you know what? I should have milled them with Jace, because if I milled them with Jace, I could draw my Brazen Borrower and then they lose. Yeah, that's what I should have done here. So I get to draw a bunch of cards with Gadwick here. Here's the thing that's never welcome in this channel. If you tell me you disagree with me and you don't elaborate as to why you disagree with me, you're just being obnoxious. If you want to have a discussion about why you disagree with me, that's encouraged and welcome. However, when you just say, Jeff, I don't agree with you, that's not helpful. All right, so I lost this game because I messed up. Worth noting. So I'm going to concede here. We've lost this game. But had I milled them with Jace... Oh, wait. I can bounce this in response, right? I can still bounce their Jace in response. Okay, yeah, you're right. You're right. And you're right. Okay. So I could have won the game immediately. They have two cards in their deck. So if they plus their Jace targeting themselves, we can borrow them in response. Had I had the forethought to Jace mill them, I would have gotten to Brazen Borrower them right now, and then they'd lose on their draw step. But now, because I didn't do that, I have to wait. I don't understand your question, Rumple. I bet your trash can smells delicious. Oh. Listen, I like Taco Bell. That's why I ate it last night. But Taco Bell that's been sitting in my trash can for 12 hours is not delicious. Does not smell delicious. Was one of their cards Dispute? I don't remember. Hoisted by your own petard. All right, these games are dumb. I don't know how I feel about. I don't know how I feel about these. They're like these mirrors have been. Ugh. I don't know how I feel, but I don't feel like the answer is happy. I feel like the answer isn't happy. So it wasn't even that someone didn't take issue with me using the word toxic. The person that I timed out in chat said that when I used the word toxic, it wasn't descriptive. They said I wasn't being constructive because I used the word toxic. So they weren't upset that I used the word. They were saying that the adjective wasn't descriptive. And that's the problem I have. It's nonsense to say an adjective isn't descriptive because adjectives only live to be descriptive. You could disagree with the use of the adjective. You could say, Jeff, I disagree that this isn't toxic. I think it's healthy. I don't think it's bad. You could definitely disagree with the use of an applied adjective, but saying that adjectives aren't descriptive and it's not constructive to use an adjective is nonsense. Yo, dog. Let me Thoughtseize your Thoughtseize. Do you think Twin in Modern would be fun? So here's the thing about Modern, Draven. Modern is littered with decks that I would describe as not fun. So I think leaving Twin banned in Modern under the guise of it's not fun is inconsistent and nonsense. I think if we were going to remove things that weren't fun from Modern, we would ban a lot of things. So up until this point in Pioneer, like with the removal of Felidar Guardian, I think that they were kind of, or at least to me, it felt like they were pushing the format in a direction that like saying, these are things we don't want to be happening. And I think that that's a good thing. I think not having people get cat comboed, not having people get inverted is fine. It's just, again, as I often talk about, it's the lack of consistency that I find frustrating. The banning Felidar Guardian while leaving decks like this running around. They said Inverter's okay. Well, I mean, they didn't ban it. They knew about it going into this past weekend. And like I said, I don't expect changes with another PT coming up this weekend, but we'll know Monday if they think Inverter's okay. If they don't think Inverter's okay, it'll be banned on Monday. The thing in my mind is, even if they ban Inverter at this point, I thought moving away from scheduled ban list updates was supposed to mean we don't have these tournaments anymore. I thought the purpose of that was to avoid what specifically happened with this, where suddenly Inverters everywhere. You know what I mean? Like, I thought we were explicitly looking for that to not happen anymore. Okay, so my opponent has flipped their deck back over, and their deck contains double Thoughtseize, double Opt. And their last card is Thassa's Oracle. So their hand right now is Inverter plus Thassa's Oracle. So I have some time here to beat them down, which is nice. And then if this can find our other Thoughtseize, we'll be in a great spot. This looks at 6 cards here. Am I in for Gadwick? I think I'm in for Gadwick. You think they should have continued weekly ban updates? Well, we don't have scheduled ban updates anymore. Scheduled ban updates are a lie that don't exist. Oh, we just lose here, right? Is that how this works? No, we just lose, right? Because if I bounce the Oracle in response, their deck is empty, right? So with 0 devotion, they still win, right? Yeah, if they have an empty deck. That's how this works. They win the game. Yeah. Yeah. Huh. We're gonna play Pioneer today, but I think there's a chance that I might take Pioneer off the schedule for the rest of the week if the rest of today goes the rest of the way this is going so far. If I scoop to Inverter, we're probably not going to play many matches today. Like, at least a Healy Cat combo you can interact with. Like, this combo gets set up to positions where you just can't interact with it. They combo killed us. Their combo doesn't care about removal. You have to have discard spells or counter spells, because their combo doesn't care about anything else. Thank you for the sub, Gifties, Bradley. I misunderstood what you were saying, Brad, and I agree that the part where I said people like a specific type was not, that part was not constructive. I thought you were addressing my feedback on the actual cards. You were addressing my feedback talking about people. Sure, you can mill them Tumos, but their deck plays Dig Through Time to exile their graveyard. They're weak against other things, Master Neo, and this deck gets to play Fatal Push. Gets to play Fatal Push and Thoughtseize. Thanks for the 17 months, Mikey. I think I might have missed Nandris, too. Nandris, Mikey, Oi Punks. I might have missed a few of those. Unemployed Sofa. We were ranting there for a little bit. Interesting. Oh, this is Jim. Yeah, you should be able to watch this stream from both sides if you want to fire up Jim's stream. He's streaming as well. I think it's disingenuous to say I'm not discussing when I was timed out twice and just told to be wrong. Alright, you can just get out of here. Hey now, you're annoying, I really don't care. Do. Fuck off, let's play. Do. You didn't listen to the words that I said. In my experience playing the Cat Oven decks Dirty Digits, they are very bad in this format. The slow, grindy card advantage that Trail of Breadcrumbs generates is not particularly good in this format, in my experience. You can click on their name or type /user and then their username. I don't think that's strictly true. Like, their deck has Thoughtseize and Fatal Push and stuff like that. And our deck's like, we don't always have our stuff. Like, when our deck comes together, it's very hard to interact with, but our deck doesn't always have everything come together. That's just, like, not how Magic works. Shillsville Artisan. There's, if you want the actual name to search for, there's a Google Doc that they put referral links and the extra clan name in. Tempo. The fact that they've shocked themselves a bunch here has been real good for us too. Thanks for the third of the year MTG reference. I appreciate it. Welcome back. Caucuses shouldn't exist in 2020. Maybe. So I actually didn't know what a caucus was until I started doing Google searches last night. And honestly, the caucuses seem, to set a low bar, they seem better than just normal voting. I think ranked choice voting would be better than caucuses, but I think caucuses in general sound like they're better than just like I only get to pick one candidate. If you don't know what a caucus is, I didn't know either. Just Google it. You go on Philip DeFranco, if you ever watch him, his video last night had a good description of how caucuses work. I agree. It's important to remember that while corporate Dems are better than their GOP counterparts, they are still worse than actual progressives. If the DNC cared about having a primary that appealed to the needs of the voters, they would have ranked choice voting. So the problem here is I've kind of blown my load and they have Kalitas and Scavenging Ooze in their hand, so I'm not sure I'm going to be able to drag it across the finish line. So I think I know on these because I don't really want any of these cards. Yeah, it's still, I agree that caucuses are ideal, Brad. Ideal would be ranked choice. So hopefully we'll have. it's very addictive, Wolfie. Was that lethal? Was that a good draw? Was that a good one? I think that was a good one. I think that was a good one. Bernie's internal polling numbers have him winning at 28%, with Buttigieg being in second at 25%. So hopefully the real numbers are close to that. Jund. I want this Jace. I think I probably want this Melody. Is it possible I don't want... I probably don't care about Leyline in this matchup, huh? Is it crazy to cut this? What if I cut these 4 and bring in the 2 Gus? Yeah, it's definitely, like I said, you need to wait for the official numbers. I was just saying I would be happy if those numbers are what they are. Namely, not only was Bernie in first, but Biden was real low. So, discard spells like this always seem appealing in matchups like this, but matchups like this, the opponent's deck often becomes empty-handed, so I think that's not good enough. The dynamic of the fact that we have Brazen Borrower and Harbinger bouncing stuff could change that potentially. Yeah, this is probably fine. Machete Mabel, thank you for the 11 months of support. I appreciate that. Welcome back. Thanks for keeping me around. You have green, black, colorless stomping in the queue. The problem is it's too low. Thanks for the Biddy Scooter. I'll get that bumped up after today's stream. Easy bottom. So they took our combo piece. Hopefully we can just tempo them out here. No, not at all, Dirty Digits. Yep. Yeah, Jim does some viewer decks like I do as well. Do I gust this or do I just borrower? I kind of want to just borrower. Yeah, this is basically a blue devotion deck with Inverter shoehorned into it for a combo finish. I think I'm actually letting this resolve and then planning to gust it next turn. Because I put my untapped land into play here so I can play this borrower and start attacking them. Tricky Dick's pretty good. Alright, so we're gonna go ahead and draw step, Aether Gust this tracker. And then we can use Tricky Dick to diddle the Scavenging Ooze. Hey, Cave Core, thanks for the 10 months. I appreciate that. Welcome back. Thanks for keeping me around. You're having a good one wherever you are. True Allnet, thank you for the brand new tier 1 sub. I appreciate that. Welcome to Hooglandia. Just dreadful. No Fatal Push here too, Witch's Oven, sure. Oven's actually really good because it means that this melody no longer works. Well, it turns the melody into Doomblade. It's a little unfortunate for us. Takes a lot of our pressure out of play here. Hoping to draw Chadwick. Never forget, this stream was pre-recorded in front of a live studio audience. Is Magic Online run by Wizards of the Coast? Of course! Magic Online is Magic the Gathering's premier play digital client. This is the premier tournament client. If you're looking to compete in Magic digitally, you will not find a platform with more official tournaments than Magic the Gathering Online. All right, tempo. Tempo. Cat's actually very good here. Cat's a draw that could get them back in this. Lets them draw a lot of cards cheaply here. And block my creatures. I found a goose, yep. Now, Gadwick might let us pull through. So I get to go Jace, tap your goose. Draw a card. And then we'll go Brazen Borrower, bounce your tracker, tap your Cauldron Familiar. Stomp. That's really good. So I have a bunch of food over here. The goal here is to choke them on mana. Yep. Now the goal here is going to be to cast enough blue spells that we can kind of tap through their stuff, but that might not be possible at this point. Interesting that he's attacking. I feel like you want to attack me, right? Yeah, I like his decision to attack me here. Maybe I'm not supposed to mill them because I can mill them into another cat, which I just did. The upside to milling them is if I hit an inverter, it's easier for me to win if my graveyard's smaller. They're dead, right? I have 8. They have 0 cards in hand. There are 7 cards in my graveyard. This deck is so dumb. I really hope they ban this deck. I said over the weekend I wasn't sure. I'm pretty sure they should ban this deck. Pretty sure this deck should be banned. It's really miserable. The mirrors suck. Splinter Twin you. Didn't even have either of my Splinter Twin pieces in. Oh, do I have to click and then I win the game? Alright. I was like, why is it making me click? Yeah, like, that's just awful. Like, yeah. Yeah, I think this format should be a place where these 2-card combos don't exist. No, I think they should ban a combo piece. I think Felidar Guardian, Inverter of Truth, Heliod Ballista combo. I think these should all just be gone. I think if they're gonna let any of them be legal, they should all be legal. But I think this format would be better without these combos in it. These are the types of decks that push out the decks Timmy and people who play Magic more casually love to play. And I think making sure that we support the Timmys of the world is important. Yeah, at least Ballista and Felidar Guardian combo you can interact with via removal. So, what am I supposed to do here? I think I'm just supposed to save up to inverter them, right? The question is, I think I'm just going to play a tapped land, and then we'll Harbinger this back to their hand next turn. This returns a tapped creature to its owner's hand. It's twin where you don't care if they bolt Pestermite. Yeah, agree. Agree. Yeah, the streamer mirrors are always fun. Good, they're good content, even if the deck we're playing is obnoxious. Just easy block here. Land. Well, I was hoping to play this and draw a card, but, you know, here we are. Yep. Hey, Wolf Gaming. Thank you for the brand new tier 1 sub. I appreciate that. Welcome to Hoaglandia. If you're having a good one wherever you are. Land. I should be more specific with my request, chat. I should be more specific with my requests. I think discussing changes that could be made via errata aren't worth discussing because Wizards doesn't errata Magic cards. Yeah, Narset's in a Wheel is legal in Pioneer. We've played that a few times. Hey, please don't Thoughtseize me. Alright, that gets Harbinger and double Gadwick in it. Harbinger and double Gadwick in it. Is Pioneer fun? It was. I'm not sure if it still is. I'm kind of leaning towards no. Okay. Yeah, so they need to have a Swift End here. So they need to have Thoughtseize plus another Swift End. All right, now they need double Fatal Push. I think they messed up, right? Unless they have double Fatal Push. Win the game. Yay, Magic! Yay, Magic! Yay! I think you could make the argument that a deck like Splinter Twin or Felidar Guardian can be good for a format. I think this deck, where I literally don't care about removal a lot of the time when I'm comboing, is not good for the game and is not good for the format. I think the amount of times where this deck kills the opponent through removal spells is unreasonable. That would be my thought on that. This effect's not super useful here. I guess it's probably fine. It's hard for them to kill. Yeah, this is probably good to keep because it's hard for them to take off the table. We're 2-2. We lost 2 mirror matches. For those wondering what our record is, we're 2-2 and we lost both the mirror matches we played. Right on time, Leyline. Welcome to the party. I agree with that. The fact that this archetype largely only cares about counter spells means it's not good. Means it's not good for the format. Counter spells and like Torpor Orbs are like the things you care about. We don't deserve a burrito. I agree. You played against this deck 9 out of 11 matches last night. Yeah, I believe that. People like winning games of Magic. All right. The old Ratchet Bomb, charge it up. We're gonna take 6 here, possibly more if they have. Are they drawing a card? Notice the trend where smaller channels have more subs than viewers. I mean, to be fair, it's easier for a smaller channel to have more subs than viewers than a larger channel. But my channel specifically, too, tends to have, I think, a higher sub count than a lot of others because of the way I leverage my YouTube. A lot of people don't leverage non-Twitch forms of revenue very well, I think. How many subs do I have? At this current point in time, I have 2,719 concurrent subscribers. I mean, fancy green swords are great, to be fair, Sanity. Correct, yeah, even Torpor, like, this build that we're playing, the Torpor Orb plan, isn't even really that good. Because, like, we get a 6/6 flyer, and then we get to kill them with it, right? I think I'm gonna keep this Jace. It's like, hey, look, a distraction. I'm gonna mill them, even though they have graveyard stuff, because I want to be able to peel the combo and win easily. Agonizing Remorse is interesting. Weird that they didn't attack with Mutafall. Was that a good draw, chat? Oh, they're gonna bring back Scrap Peep Scrounger. Got it. Do I Gadwick for max and die to a removal spell? I guess I don't die to... If I Gadwick, I die to land Murderous Rider. Max -2 is not a lot. Yeah, I don't have any pushes. I don't have any 1-mana spells. I feel like I'm just supposed to draw 4 here and hope to kill them next turn. Like, I could Gadwick for 1 and Brazen Borrower, but I think I just want to do this and draw a bunch of cards. And then I think I hold on to that for next turn, because I'm going to have a lot of mana with the Nykthos. I already played a land. I can't play it out. Never mind. Would it be smart to invest in this deck? No. I mean, I would recommend cashing out your IRA and buying foil inverters immediately. That can only end well. Alright, if they have an untapped land here, we're dead. Alright, so likely dead here. Need to draw both combo pieces. Off runner. Alright, we didn't get there. Game 3 on the play. Let's go. Think I'm happy with how I boarded. Gonna go ahead and run it back. Invest in Thoughtseize so it'll never get banned. That's probably solid advice. Better advice is don't invest in cardboard. Big agrees there. Buy cards that you'll play with and enjoy playing with them. You know what? I should have mulliganed this hand. Not only is this hand kind of land heavy, even though it has 2 pieces of interaction, but this hand also doesn't have double black in it. You know, I think I'm actually keep the Oracle here, just because like a 1/3 for 2 is probably pretty reasonable in this matchup. He says his opponent plays a 2/1 for 1. I'm just gonna know that. I don't think I want either of those cards. This deck is for Pioneer what WotC thought Twin was for Modern. Yeah, I'm inclined to agree with that. Their start's very good here. Probably losing Ratchet Bomb, I'd imagine. Our hand's not particularly strong. Sure, I guess this comes back. They want to take our pressure away. I think I want to play that out because I do need a second black source eventually. One of the really fun things about having Thassa, and this is one of the reasons why this deck is so resilient and obnoxious too, is because we have Thassa's Oracle in our graveyard now, I can just draw Inverter, and then we'll draw into the Oracle and win the game when we redraw it. So, like, the fact that this is over here in our bin means we're basically a one-card combo at this point. Listening to an NPR interview with a woman from Iowa, and said she's voting for Trump because he's too stupid to be sneaky like Biden. Listen, people go through a lot of justifications to do whatever they want. Yep, so they'll fire up Mutavault here. They'll get back the Bloodsoaked Champion, but that's fine. We're just not under a lot of pressure, and I've got Jace sitting in play here. Ticking up, generating some card advantage. This build in particular is not playing Dig Through Time, but there are builds that are playing Dig, yeah. So yeah, we just do that, right? There are unfortunately 3 cards in my graveyard right now, so I can't, I don't combo them this turn because I blew the Ratchet Bomb. So if I hadn't blown the Ratchet Bomb, we'd kill them. So, even if they deal with Jace, I have the Thassa's Oracle in my deck now. So long as Thassa's Oracle is in the bottom card of my deck right now, they lose next turn. Opponent concedes. Yeah, so after watching a little bit of coverage over the weekend, I had posted on Twitter, I wasn't sure if this deck should be banned. I think it might be fine. I know I only played 5 matches there, but I'm sure we're going to play against it some more today. This deck sucks. And not in that, like, obviously it's very good. It sucks to play against. And the games that you're playing with it also aren't very satisfying to win with. Talran, thank you for the tier 3 resub. I appreciate that. Toss this towards some more feathering. Do you have a format preference for the feathering, Talrand? Pioneer, Historic, or Standard? It's not even KCIS, because, like, the combo's at least very straightforward. It's not mechanically complicated, but yeah, I don't know. I think in my opinion, even if this archetype doesn't seem too strong, I think it makes the format a worse place by being legal. I think the types of gameplay patterns that it generates are a net negative for the format. Sounds good, Talran, noted. Yeah, I've got Pioneer loaded up for the rest of today, and we're going to play through that, and we'll see how it goes, but I think there's a chance I might hit the pause button on Pioneer till Monday. We'll see. Maybe playing more matches will change my mind, but I think there's a chance that I'm not going to enjoy playing against this archetype a whole bunch. All right, at any rate, I'm going to hit a quick ad roll while I get set up for the next deck. We are playing a deck that has a bunch of Thoughtseizes in it, so we got that going for us and an okay pressure, so we'll see how a non-inverter deck does against some of the inverter decks. So back in a few, folks. Thanks for hanging out. We got at least a couple more Pioneer decks coming up today.